Bismillah, as-salatu was-salamu ala rasulillah. As-salaamu alaikum, guys.
As-salaamu alaikum.
It's Muslim developers here, so we're continuing with our iOS basics course. So what is the plan for today?
So the last time we stopped on persistency. So now when we close an open application, it saves all our data between these startings. Now we want to add health bar, which will indicate how long it has been since we did our habit. Like in our demo application, as you can see, it has been almost half a week since we visited gym. So once we do it, we'll just update its health.
Nice. So we'll do the same for our app that we're building as a course.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go for it. We will start with the UI elements. So this is where we will work. We will go to our TableView, and inside the TableView, choose the TableView cell, and let's add some elements to it, which will help us indicate that, which will allow us to indicate what is happening. So first of all, we add a label, which will serve as the title of the habit. We can position it. So let's position it, center it vertically, and maybe save the leading space as it is. So now it is vertically just in the middle, and we are 29, probably it's too much, 16 is enough. So our margin from the left side will be 16 points. Okay, once we have the label, another element that we want to use is progress view. And progress view will help us to show the health bar. Probably it's a good idea to center it vertically as well. So we center it vertically, and we position it, let's position it actually from the leading to the trailing space. And both of them, the margins will be 16. Let's update our views. So this is it. We have the progress bar, positioned just in the middle of the label. It's important that the label has to be above the progress bar. So one thing we should do is position progress view behind the label, so the label has to be on top. And also what we can do, let's go into progress view properties, set the progress to 0 initially, and then set background as clear color, and tint. For now, I think we can set it as clear color as well. Tint is the color that fills the progress bar. So when it's full, we will set the tint as green. If it's in the middle, as yellow, and if it's going towards the end, we will put it as red.
So this tint color shows the color of full part of progress.
That's right. Okay, that's right. So this is what we are to use here. Okay. So let's now create a file, a class, Kakao Touch class, which will again where we will connect the UI from the storyboard to code. So Kakao Touch class, and here we will inherit from UI table view cell, and we will call it let's call it, I think, habit cell. Keep language Swift, press next, and position it right in the project hierarchy. So here, habit cell, we have the several methods already declared for us, awake from nib, where we can do the initial configuration of the cell and how it looks. Now we will connect this class to the storyboard, so we have connection between UI and the code. Press Alt or Option, also called Option, hold it and press on the storyboard. This way you will get two screens. Before we can connect anything, we have to choose the TableView cell, go into the Attributes Inspector, the tab in the middle which says the Identity Inspector, and declare the class to be habit cell. So now we have the connection, And
So
let's
it's like you're saying that this cell will be controlled by this class.
Yes,
Okay.
That's right.
Okay.
And now let's go into progress view and connect the elements. We can call it health bar for us to be very clear about what is the function of it. Or we could also call it health progress view. It's the main point is that it has to be understandable for the developer what it is. So when we come back to it later, we see the name and we guess what it is straight away. So that's the convention for naming. Now the label will be, we can call it title label, or we could also call it habit title label, but I think it's sufficient to call it just to use the word title. So now we have the connections. We can do some initial setup. So for the health bar, what we will do, we will declare something called corner radius. So we will do layer, then go into corner radius, and let's declare corner radius of 5. And corner radius is just, it means that we don't want the rectangle to be with what it's called sharp angles. We want them to be a little bit smooth, to have radius. So that's, and you can experiment with the greater the number you put, greater is the smoothing.
Okay.
So you can have actually a circle at the end if you want. Okay, so health bar layer, corner radius is equal to 5. Another attribute we want to set is called clips to bounds, and we want to set it to true. And you normally have to do it when you're declaring the corner radius. And one last thing that we will do, we will transform our health bar to be wide. As you can see at the moment, it's pretty thin. You can almost you can't almost see it. So to make it wider, we have to do it from code. We will choose an attribute called transform, and then redeclare it. Transform scaled by x. We want to keep it 1 because we don't want to scale it horizontally. We want to scale it vertically. So, and vertically we can put 100. So it will take, it will be scaled by the factor 100 on the vertical scale, and pretty much fill up all available space that it has. One more thing we will do with our cell is, if we choose it, on the right side we can see reuse identifier. So we need to declare reuse identifier, and normally we can use something like habit cell. And reuse identifier is important for us to be able to get this cell from code. So if we go to view controller, we will look at the cell for row at index pass method, and we look at the cell. So we will change the declaration of our cell. We'll use TableView and a method called declare reusable cell with identifier. We can use the identifier and declare it to be habit cell, the same as what we've used in the storyboard. And the index path, we will use just the index path from the method. Let's declare the type, and we can do the following: habit cell as habit cell. And the fact that we said that this cell will be of type habit cell allows us to access everything we have declared in this class. So namely health bar and title label. And what we will do, again, we use the habits, and here instead of using the text label, we will use the attribute called title label now, and use the text. We can also access the health bar from here and call the set progress function. For now, let's put it at 0.5, and for the animated, we will pass false. One last thing that I would like to do is, instead of writing habit cell, the identifier, as a hard-coded string here, I think it is better to declare it separately. That habit cell identifier and use it If we need to reuse it at other times, we decrease the possibility of making a typo. Let's run it and see what will happen. So we run the application, and here we have the cells. Somehow we can see the progress bar, at least the silhouette of it. But it's, first of all, it's taking up all the space and we don't see any corner radius, right? What can we do to improve it, to fix this error? Maybe we can go to main storyboard and use something called container view. So we will use let's use UI view and place it inside of the cell. Position it, let's say, okay, 5 on the top, 5 from the bottom, 16 and 16. So we added these 4 constraints. Now we will move the health bar inside the view, inside the container view. It will become kind of child of it. So maybe let's increase the, let's fix the size of the head itself. And the health bar, we will center it vertically again, and put it as let's put it as equal width and center it horizontally. So this way we should be fine to go. One more thing we want to do is to use something called, so we press Control and drag the view a little bit and leave it where it is and choose hide attribute. So now, as you can see, we've added a new constraint where we can say, okay, this view has to be of certain height always. I think a plausible height we could use is approximately, we could use 44, but I think 35 will be enough for our progress view to look nice. So, okay, now we've declared the view, we regulated the height of it, and we can press Alt and go to the habit cell. Now we have both the storyboard and the habit cell class, we press Control and drag the view inside here. So one way we could call it is, let's call it health bar container view, to be very discreet about what is happening. Okay, so now we have new outlet property called health bar container view of class UI view, and we will change, instead of declaring the corner radius for health bar, we will declare the corner radius for the health bar container view, and same for the property clips to bounds. We can close the storyboard. Let's also declare the health bar tint color to be let's say yellow for now, and the health bar background color to be clear. Okay, let's see what happens. Okay, as you can see, we have the progress bar. It is smoothed on the corners. We also can see the tint, and probably a better color will be system yellow, and the background color we can use just white. Looks much better now.
Seems like we're close to the final goal. Yeah. So now what we need to do to work with this health bar, we need to extend some functionality that we already have, and we will start with extending our core data model. We will start it with habit plus core data. So first, what we need to do is we need to somehow map the values on progress bar and regularity. So how many days does each regularity mean? So far we don't know it. We're just transferring the values of regularity. So let's do it. For doing so, we will use enumeration, which is standard one of standard types in Swift. And we say call it habit regularity, and it will each option in this enumeration will represent number of days. For example, for daily, we make the number of days is 1. For every other day, it's 2. Weekly, it's 7 days.
Bi-weekly is 14.
And monthly. So now I think we don't need more options. So we will decrease the overall number from 7 to 5. Now we will write our custom initialization, which will map the regular values like 1, 2, 3, 5 to our enumeration cases. And here we will switch value, and switch actually is let's say shorter form of if checks. So what we're doing here, we're just checking value and saying if it's 1, then self is daily.
Okay.
If it's 2, then self is other day. And so
Every
on.
other day. Okay. So we'll have 5 values, and they will correspond to 5 possible values of the slider that we move when we are creating a new habit. Okay. Okay. So we have 5 cases, and what does default do?
Switch needs to be exhaustive. So it should check, if you're checking something with switch, you should check every possible value. And since we're checking integer, it's almost infinite number of values. So what we're saying, if it's not any of these, then let's say it will be daily.
Okay. Okay. And this is the default case.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Okay, and now we need to use this enumeration to extend the functionality that we already have. In our case, it's where we will extend habit, so that we want to map its regularity to something that we already have here. We will create new variable called we will call it regularity state, and it will be of type habit regularity. And what we want to do every time someone tries to set its value, it will get its value. It will return habit regularity with value of self regularity integer value.
Okay.
And every time someone tries to set the regularity, we'll say that self regularity equals to for value of that's it. And pay attention that new value here is the new value that is being set in this setup. So it's local variable that you don't declare, but it's always here.
Okay, okay. So now we can basically convert from the regularity, which is a decimal number, into these cases. And from these cases, we can convert back to regularity. So that's kind of a mapping between the display value of daily, weekly, bi-weekly, and the actual value which is taken from the slider. Let's update the slider from the limits of the slider from 1 to 5 instead of from 1 to 7. Okay, so we go to the storyboard. go to our new habit controller. Which is, for some reason, is black.
It's broken for some reason,
Yeah.
but its values are still here. So, and here we changed the maximum from 7 to 5.
Okay, so it got fixed straight away.
Yeah.
Once we changed it. Okay, so now we have the slider, the regularity slider, the minimum and maximum value from 1 to 5. Great. And we also will be able to now display the regularity instead of 1 and 2. We will be able to display the string saying whether it's daily, weekly, or bi-weekly. Okay, great. Good. Let's do it then.
Okay. So first we're going to add habit, and what we are saying, we're looking for regularity change. So what we will do now, first we need somehow to understand what title should be shown for each type of regularity. So for doing so, we'll create a new function, call it get regularity title, which gets the regularity and returns string. And in here we're just using switch to check all possible values of regularity. In case it's daily, we'll return daily. In case it's every other day, return other day.
Okay.
In case it's weekly, return.
Do we say other day? I think we have to say every other day, no?
Probably, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Sorry for my poor English.
It's okay, man. I mean,
yeah. And for bi-weekly, we say weekly. I think we forgot something. Monthly.
Okay.
Monthly. And since this time regularity can be only of these 5 types, we don't need default because we're checking all possible values.
So switch is already exhausted.
Yeah.
Great.
And now we need to understand one thing. First, we will to get the regularity, we will do like this: habit regularity value, and value will be taken from slider.
Okay. But we still, I think, need to convert it to integer.
Okay, let's get it from the beginning.
So
already exhausted. And okay. Now we need to create our habit regularity and understand what's like mapping. Here we have our regularity. State, and we will create it like this. Value, and use the value that we already have here.
Maybe we can call it regularity int to make it obvious on what is happening.
Yeah.
Okay. And also here change I to U.
Yeah. And now what we need is we need to call our function regularity title. We call get regularity title, and we pass our state. Regularity state. This is it. Now we use this function in our label. Let's try.
Okay, let's go for it.
we're pressing add, and since we didn't change our regularity at the beginning, probably we'll fix it later, but now as you can see, our values are being met.
This is nice.
Yeah.
This is nice.
And until we did not forget, let's fix our value. So from the beginning, it will be always there.
As-salaamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.